think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends taking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow, they learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we feeling after the treasure hunt this morning?
Woo! So please come up to the front. There are a lot of empty seats here. We'd love to have you. Please come up to the front. There are empty seats over there as well, and over here. Great. So if you had a great time this morning and you want to catch more of the city of Berlin, you don't have to worry. We have city tracks tomorrow. There's a little bit of feedback. Is it better now? Okay, sorry. So we have the city tracks tomorrow, and you will be able to visit different organizations, non-profits, other spaces all across the city, get a bit more of, catch a little bit more of the Berlin vibe, and see different organizations. To sign up for the city tracks, please use the link tree. You can scroll a bit down, and then there's city tracks, and there's a list of all the organizations and places you can visit, and you have to sign up for one. And please only sign up for one, because otherwise we won't have an overlook over everything.
So all the tracks, they relate to our Vision 2030 and introduce the pillars that we spoke about last night. Today's session isn't about us trying to make you more passionate about a sustainable planet. We're talking about a sustainable planet because you've told us that's what you're passionate about. But we also know that globally there's a lot of hopelessness right now about saving our planet. And hopelessness is the enemy of progress. So today we're going to invite Madam President Emma Osmundson to introduce a keynote speaker and host a panel of environmental activists from the YMCA movement, giving you insight, some practical ideas, and hopefully a bit of hope that you can take with you today back to your Ys in your country.
But before Emma takes us more into the sustainable planet idea, we would love to invite Carlos Sanve with us on stage to share with us the background of Vision 2030 and its uniting aspect. Carlos, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you had a good morning. You found some treasure in Berlin. Dear Emma, dear Juan, all my colleagues, national general secretaries, and participants to this meeting, brothers and sisters, greetings from the World YMCA. But thank you for inviting me and accept our sincere congratulations for your golden anniversary. A big thanks to YMCA Germany for hosting this event in this important moment. Thank you, Germany. When we're about to count our blessing, I think the German YMCA should be clear that hosting is part of their talent. So we thank you for all you do to host not only Europe, but all the movements worldwide. Thank you. I've been invited to talk quickly about Vision 2030. And I want to project ourselves in the next 7 years because it's about 2030, and we are 2033. But congratulations, YMCA Europe. Yesterday you adopted your strategy, Vision 2030. You aligned to Vision 2030. You did something very important that we need to acknowledge because you already adopted your strategy before the adoption of Vision 2030, and then you adopt it again after you are aligned into Vision 2030. It's a great lesson for the movement because it's not about our egos, it's not about our principle, but it's about the collective impact, and you show that you gave that example for all of us. Thank you very much, Emma, for your leadership. Talking about Vision 2030 is also talking about the Sustainable Development Goals. So we cannot look inside ourselves. We need to open ourselves. So instead of talking about the vision, the mission, the 4 pillars, I want to open a little bit about the outside because we cannot continue to talk about Vision 2030 in the vacuum. You know, all that we are living in very difficult, disruptive time. Organizations, psychologists call it, they are calling it now tuna. T for turbulent, U for uncertain, N for novel, and A from ambiguous. Turbulent, uncertain, novel, and ambiguous time. So all of these are happening at the same time. What we know now is not valid for 2 weeks from now. So how do we navigate the tuna time? This is the key question we need to answer ourselves. How do we navigate our tuna time? When the young people are presenting yesterday, they are projecting themselves in the future. But in this tuna time, we need to be able to navigate. I won't give you some statistics because each of the presenters will give you those statistics. But it's important for us to look at what is happening now. And Europe, we need to accept it, that the liberal democracy in Europe are in crisis. I will even say in deep crisis. Europe is no longer the good example of liberal democracy to anyone. When we look at what is happening even now in Sweden, in France, in different places, when we look at the election that's happening in Greece, in Germany, the local election, the right wing and the extreme right wing are gaining space in our community. That have a huge impact. The society is being more and more polarized. So we have to be able to address those issues. So Vision 2030 is about acknowledging the environment we are operating and to be able to adjust to it. So we have certitude, but we also have uncertitude. And I will go quickly on what is certain. That Vision 2030, we all accept that we have one common vision. Whichever articulation is important, but when we put ourselves together, it's about a world that is just, inclusive, peaceful, and sustainable for all. And we talk about our mission. It's about empowering young people to thrive in their body, mind, and spirit. We have 4 pillars, and we're going to deal with that. Community well-being, sustainable planet, meaningful work, and a just world. We have 12 goals. We are so pleased to see that YMCA are embracing Vision 2030. The last survey we did, 76 YMCA out of the 120 are already embark in Vision 2030. It's so important after less than a year. And you see we have 72 out of them have program in community well-being. 64 out of them have a program in meaningful work. 60 have a program in sustainable planet, and 70 have a program on just world. This is the magnitude of work going on. So we are sure about all those is happening. What we are not sure of is how you as a national movement or local association individually adapt or adopt Vision 2030. How are you changing your strategy? How are you making your operational plan to reflect Vision 2030? And once again, YMCA Europe had a clever way to put the strategy, and then all the goal is about the internal to the YMCA and the external to the community and the global advocacy. That's very clever. Thank you very much for doing that. So that's YMCA Europe. Different YMCA are having their own way of adopting Vision 2030. And we are not coming to you with a ready-made solution. That's why it's important that we share with each other what you are doing, and we continue to share. What is not clear, what we are still struggling is about how do we share our learning and data. We don't know. We are moving in the darkness, but we are taking elements from one point to another. So, how do we raise money? On the world level, we said for the next 18 months, we are looking for $2 million to make it happen. And we don't know. We are getting some pledge, some support, but we are a long way for that. And you also need how we raise this fund. Those are things we are still struggling with, especially if you want to make ourselves reliable to the young people. We need to secure that. But there are some good news. We just launched the program of the meaningful work. You know, YMCA Australia is championing this meaningful work pillar, and they secure pro bono consultation from Deloitte, and we also secure some consultation for Accenture. We're going to play in the different league now. So very soon, you already have been invited to be part of it. So we are grateful. And next one to follow is about the learning, innovation, impact. And YMCA England and Wales is championing that. So very soon we're going to see things happening in this area. I'd like to acknowledge the support of YK International. Gave us two senior staff, one coordinating the pillar of meaningful work, and the second one is coordinating the learning, innovation, and impact. That's how YMCA are coming together. Different YMCA here are coming to pledge to see how we can work it together. So I just want to end to say how we succeed as YMCA Vision 2030 depend on you, depend on your decision, depend on how you can implement. It's not one size fits all. You need to adjust to yourself. So we are in the tuna time, very turbulent, ambiguous. It's very difficult, but Vision 2030 is not even a solution. It's just an anchor that we have to navigate. But what is more important for us is our faith. And I will end up with a passage in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, say, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. Therefore, dear friend, we don't lose heart. Too outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. And that's my hope for all the movement, so that in 50 years from now, we celebrate our contribution to a better world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlos, and it's really great to have the context, really, that kicks off not just Sustainable Planet today, but as we work through the course of the next 2 days, the other 3 pillars that make up Vision 2030. We've got an amazing afternoon for you, so thank you so much for returning back from your travels around Berlin to joining us to really focus on our Sustainable Planet pillar. For those of you that just really know me with my YMCA hat on, I've actually dedicated most of my professional life to the endeavours of a sustainable planet. Professionally, my day job involves seeking to decarbonise the built environment. So the Sustainable Planet pillar is something that's really close to my heart, and I've been really invigorated that this priority has really come up from grassroots level and is now one of the 4 key priorities as part of Vision 2030. So I'm so excited by that. So this afternoon, I have the privilege and pleasure to introduce you to Silke Bult. Silke is a YMCA lady through and through. She's been in our movement for over 15 years. She joined a local YMCA in Germany, in the north of the country. She has studied in environmental science and global change. And she has, over the course of the last 2 decades and beyond, been a committed advocate for the environment. Silke's been a YMCA delegate at COP events, and her day job leads her to be an officer for climate protection and fair trade at the Forum Farum in Berlin. So I will hand the mic over to Silke, and she's our keynote speaker this afternoon. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, everyone. I'm really pleased to be here with you today. Thank you, Emma, for the nice introduction. Thank you, Carlos, for the words about Vision 2030. And I will speak today about the Sustainable Planet pillar, which is part of the Vision 2030. I will again start with introducing myself and connecting it to my YMCA journey, because the YMCA has made me to whom I am today. The YMCA has made me learn skills that I now can apply for my professional life, and that I can also apply to work towards climate action, which we need so much today to also implement the Vision 2030. And in the break, I would be really thrilled to know, what does the YMCA mean to you? Did you also learn new skills? Did you also make new friends? Did you also get some chance to act for the climate within the YMCA? When I studied in Lüneburg environmental sciences, what Emma was already mentioning now, that was during that time when I learned that the World YMCA has an environmental group, the resource group on the environment, which you can see here with the logo, the RGE. The RGE has a group that meets online, it's very international, and they go to climate conferences. And I was so happy that I learned that the YMCA has a group where I can combine my passion for the environment and for the climate with my activism within the YMCA. And I'm really glad that I can be with the YMCA and with the climate movement until today and be here with you today on that issue. So the Vision 2030 has the slogan that they all may be one. I will focus in my speech on that one as well, because that's a really important thing. We are all one, we have one mission, we work together. And then the Sustainable Planet pillar is what I speak today about. It's so important to me, and I'm so happy that the YMCA has included the Sustainable Planet pillar within Vision 2030. I mean, it's overdue, but it's great that we have it now, and let's get working on it. The pledge, it says, the YMCA commits to become a greener movement, an active youth voice on climate justice, and champion of youth-led sustainability solution. That's so powerful, that's so inspiring. Let's go work together on it right after this conference. The Vision 2030 is closely aligned with the Agenda 2030, which was set out by the United Nations, also known as the 17 Global Goals for Sustainable Development, which you can see here. And there are many different goals. The Sustainable Planet pillar covers Goal 15, which is life on land, here, and also Goal 13, climate action. In my work and in my speech today, I will focus on Goal 13, climate action. And that's why I have brought to you a graph. Some of you might know it already. It shows the data of an observatory on Hawaii in the Pacific Ocean. On the bottom here, you see the timeline from 1960 until today. And here on the left side, you see the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere in parts per million. You all well know CO2 concentration in the atmosphere is closely linked to temperature rise and to the global heating that we observe today. You can also see the red line is steadily rising. The red zigzag means that's about the seasonal fluctuations that we have. And the dark black line shows the steady rise, it's the average. So this is one graph that shows us climate heating is happening because of the CO2 concentration. And we're now already at 420 parts per million. That's way too much. About 350 parts per million would be considered somewhat healthy, but we have surpassed that level already in 1990. That was probably before some of you were born. Some of you might have been there already. I was not. But let's talk not about responsibility, let's talk about action. Responsibility is important today, but I want to focus on action today. I've brought with me another graph that shows a longer timeline. Here on the bottom you have again the timeline from the year 1000 until today. And then on the left side here, it's not the CO2 concentration, but the temperature. And you can see in the last 1,000 years, the temperature was somewhat stable. Of course, some fluctuation, but somewhat stable. And then in the recent years, after the Industrial Revolution, the last 200 years, temperatures have risen. You see it's in red. That's because that time thermometers were available and people could measure temperatures accordingly. You might have wondered, what did people do in year 1000? Did they have thermometers? No, scientists measured kind of the temperature through corals, ice cores, and tree rings and other methods. That's why it's in blue, and we see it's rising. You might have already wondered, what's that, this black line? That's a hockey stick, obviously. And this graph is therefore called hockey stick curve. It's quite popular for that because it shows for a long time it has been somewhat stable and then a sharp rise. And we can all see that is not normal. Of course, fluctuations have always been there, but not in that magnitude. And I'm sure we all agree, climate change, Earth heating is made by humans. And that is not normal, and it's not good. I have another picture that I really like, so I will share it with you. That's called the climate stripes. I like it because it's so intuitive, because we can see with one view that in earlier years temperatures have been cooler, and now it's getting hotter. It's even so hot that it's nearly not red anymore, but really dark, dark red. So that means something is really wrong. It's getting so hot in here, and we really need to work on it. We really need to work on it, and we know this crisis is happening already for a long time, but are people actually acting on it? Every day we read in the newspapers, temperatures are rising, people are dying or suffering, there are new heat waves, new records, and people are demonstrating about it. Some politicians want to act on it, but not everyone. Still, the action that we see is not sufficient for this crisis. Of course, we have also political discussions on the global level, on the United Nations level, and it's important that we have those discussions, but they are not fast enough. They are not made to face this crisis of the climate crisis that we have today. Of course, the YMCA also sends a delegation to the climate conferences, which are the COPs. COP27, COP28 is happening in Dubai next December. And we are great in doing our advocacy, but we didn't make it yet to convince all the politicians that they need to act on climate change, because there are so many different interests. But it's really important that we continue our work on that. So I think the outlook is not good. Will we make it to avert the climate crisis? I'm not so sure yet. I'm hopeful, but I have not had the proof yet. I think it's really sad that the climate crisis is happening. Some will not survive, some will die. Who will die, who will survive? Not sure. But the other question is it really about cute polar bears only? adopt, I think it's rather about survival of people. And that's important that we make that clear in our communication. It's people that suffer today, that die today, that are losing their homes, that are losing their livelihoods, that are losing their future. This picture shows the floods in Pakistan last year. Many people died, they lost their lands, and we also have seen floods in Germany. Another consequence is, like, one is too much water, another one is too little water. Here we see the River Loire in France last year. There was nearly it was drought up. Did you see this? Did you imagine that this could happen? I was really surprised. We also have trees burning, the wildfires also close to Berlin, in Brandenburg, which is around Berlin. We have that a lot as well, also now, and in many different areas of the world as well. And it's really dangerous. And then we have the heat waves. Last week in Berlin was really hot as well. Now it has gone back to warm, kind of. And the heat waves are especially dangerous for the more fragile ones in our society, like the older ones or the weak ones, because our body cannot deal with those hot temperatures, and we have a lot of premature death during those heat waves. So it's like also here in Germany, it's not affecting us only in a few years or in a few decades. It's affecting my grandparents already today, and everyone in some sort, and some people somewhere else even more. Even though in Germany we don't feel it that bad yet, in other places it's already really bad. So let's choose our fate. The time is now. We know what we need to know. We need to act. Will we die, will we burn, or will we survive? Like the first graph that I showed you from the Hawaii island in the Pacific, it was a steady rise in CO2 concentration, and of course that will also translate in a steady rise of temperature rise. But there are also those tipping elements. Once we reach a certain threshold, the tipping element will occur and some system in our Earth will collapse. For example, here we have the boreal permafrost, it will thaw up. We have the Greenland ice shield, it will collapse. We have the Barents sea ice will also be lost, and we have the low latitude coral reefs that will die off because the water is getting hotter, that the coral reefs cannot survive in that. And those coral reefs are important for the islands and the ocean because they protect the island. The island is really just above sea level. And once there's a storm or a big wave, the coral reefs kind of protect that island. So, but what happens with the people that live on that island? They get the flooding, they get the storm, their houses, their livelihoods get destroyed. But when the sea level continues rising and the storms continue being worse and worse, those people will lose their livelihoods. They will also lose their lives. And if not, they will at least lose their heritage and they need to migrate if even possible. So in that threshold, this tipping point will be reached if we go over the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit. That's not secure anymore. So we are already above 1.2 degrees Celsius mean global temperature. And so there's a very little fraction of time and of temperature delta that we still have. And it's important that we make now everything possible to save not only the coral reefs, not only the people that are living on those islands, but to save our future. Because also here in Berlin, if it's getting too hot, we will not have a nice life anymore. So this seems to be so frustrating and so not making a good mood, but there's hope. And the hope is here in this room. Because we are all together here, we have now Vision 2030, and it's on us to make it happen. It's on us to implement it in real actions. It's on us to translate it to our national movements, translate it to events, to educational programs, to CO2 neutrality actions, and to anything else. So it's not optional. We have the core belief that Carlos was presenting already in Sustainable Planet Pillar. It reads, the YMCA believes that we should all commit and take action for the protection and regeneration of our planet, preparing for a just transition to a world where humans live in full harmony with nature. So now I'm done with the more scientific part, and now I want to focus more on you and on the YMCA, which goes along. So maybe you're already thinking, okay, I know this climate change, this climate crisis is happening, I can feel it, I can understand it. What can I do about it? Maybe you have already made up your mind. We are going to go deeper into that. We're going to go on a personal journey all together, still a personal journey, and explore what we can do ourselves and what we can do as a movement. So therefore, I would like to ask you 3 questions. It's personal questions, you don't have to share them, the answers, but you can, of course. But I want you to really make up your mind on that. What are you passionate about, is the first one. What makes you special? And what's your purpose? We'll answer this question and come back to that at the end as well. So the first is, what are you passionate about? I'm sure every one of you has a passion, something that you're really up for, that gives you a nice workflow that you can always do, something that keeps you up at night because you're still thinking about it. What could that be for you? Think a moment. Like for some, it could be related to sports or to painting, to music or to arts. Again, it could be something else that you're passionate about counseling, listening to others, or community organizing. I have made up my mind that I think I'm passionate about climate activism, of course, about workshops, educational experiences, or everything related to climate action. I'm also passionate about forest walks, I guess. It's a thing that I really like to do. So what are you passionate about? I'm really eager to hear that in the break afterwards and to have some conversation with you. That will be really interesting to me. But that's only one question. The other one is that I'm convinced that you have a superpower. Every one of you has a superpower. That can be a talent, a skill, or something else that you're really good at doing and that you need to use for climate action. It can be something that you have not fully developed yet or not discovered yet, but each and every one of you has a talent combined with a passion that's really strong. What could that be in your case, your superpower? Maybe you are really doing well in organizing or singing or in handicraft. And believe me, all those things can be used. Your superpowers are really necessary and helpful for acting on the climate and implementing the Vision 2030. So the third question relates to our togetherness. We're all here together in this room, of course. We share one event, we attended together. And you have made up your mind, what is your passion, what is your superpower, and I assume all the superpowers are different. Each of us is unique with our own superpower. They are different, that's okay, that's really necessary. Because together we combine each other. Something that I cannot do, maybe you can help me. Something that you can do, I'm not able to do so. And together in the movement, we complement each other and we share kind of the different tasks. And the different skills that we have in this room, we will use them all together to save the planet and to act on the climate crisis. We as the YMCA movement, we're so many, we're so diverse, we have so many different skills. Together we can make a change. So we have the Vision 2030. We have defined our talents, our skills, our passions. So what do we do with it now? After the event, you might go home, back to your local YMCA and ask yourself, so what can I do about it? How can I inspire my peers and get this going? Because you're the one that is inspired and you need some others that will follow you. So now here I have a short video. It's a bit funny, it's not too serious, but it has a true core about leadership, and let's go about it, let's see it, and then I will comment on it afterwards.
Then let's talk about what happens start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. See, it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in.
Okay, I want you to do exactly that in your local YMCA back home. So you've seen it needs a leader that kind of creates a movement, that has an idea, a leader that is not afraid to look ridiculous, that is not afraid of criticism, and that is inspired by something. But it does not only need the leader, it also needs the followers. Because what is a leader without followers? What's a movement without people? And as we have seen with different talents, some might like to be a leader, some might like more to be a follower. That's okay, we complement each other, and together we are the movement. So once you're a leader or you're the follower, you will create a crowd, you will attract more people because followers, as we have seen, also attract more followers. And then you're the mass movement. But you might have thought about how many people do I need to form this movement so that we can actually really make a change on climate action. I've also thought about that, and I have come up with a number, not from me, from a researcher, of course. She said we need 3.5% of the population to really make a change, because that amount of people, it doesn't seem to be that much, but that amount of people will really inspire a change that politicians, for example, will not be able to ignore. That number is from Erica Chenoweth. She's a political scientist at the Harvard University, and she has done many research papers on political and societal movements, and she came up with that number. 3.5% doesn't seem to be that much, but translated to Germany, we have about 84 million people in Germany, so 3.5% of that is still about 3 million. I've checked on the climate strikes, the global climate strike in 2019, for example, we had about 2 to 3 million on the global scale. So we need that in Germany alone to have that movement. It's still a bit of work that we need to do, but we have a chance. So people have asked me, is it the responsibility of the politicians or of the society to bring the change? And after I've spoken so much about togetherness, you might already have come up with a solution. It's both, in my view. We need society that supports the political measures that politicians try to implement. And we also need the politicians to make the measures that are there then for everyone. Also those that are not really in favor of climate action then need to follow these rules that are supported by the majority. Also in that sense, we have togetherness, and we support each other, we have different roles, and we complement each other. That's why I have picked this verse from Corinthians, and I was surprised Carlos also did pick Corinthians, but this is a different chapter. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. So we are one body and many parts. We have different roles, different preferences, but we all have one mission, which is implementing the Sustainable Planet Pillar, getting going on climate action and saving this planet. So that's you, by the way, that one. I will summarize my contribution once again. My 3 main points are: you are skilled in many different ways, you're powerful, and you're important. You have your passion, which is different from the others, but it complements with the other passions and skills and talents. And together we can achieve something big and great. Together we can achieve climate action. So reflect, what did you come up with just now earlier, what's your passion, what's your skill, and what will you do once you're back home in your local YMCA to implement this Vision 2030 together with your peers, together with your national movement. I'm looking forward to discussing with you that later in the breaks, and maybe you can also bring up those questions in the breakout groups that we will have later. And then I'm inspired, well, I'm eager to look at what we will have achieved in a few years with those 3 guiding questions. What are you passionate about? What makes you special? And what's your purpose? And I really hope that you now know what's your purpose, because I really know what should be your purpose to save this planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Silke, for this inspiring keynote. The situation of our planet, the climate crisis, it challenges us. And there are some YMCA movements who already took on the challenge and put things into action. We're going to see 2 short videos of YMCA Kosovo and YMCA on the Philippines, and they will show us the example.
We are seeing with our own eyes that the deforestation is happening around us and is the right time to act and do something in order to prevent it. The village where we live, that one day we saw a very beautiful hill with the trees, and the next day it was gone.
Deforestation is a huge concern for me as a young person because we are losing our natural environment. The forest and natural habits that once surrounded us are slowly disappearing.
Team Trees is a movement inside of our YMCA where each year we tend and we are planning to donate trees in order to prevent deforestation and in order to make this issue less bigger in Kosovo.
So we're actually at Camp Pedashan, which is the YMCA's new youth empowerment camp, and just behind me is the tree nursery that the Team Trees team have asked can live on our camp. This is really good for us because it means that we have a program that runs beyond the life of the program. We will make trees that are going to be donated every year to schools, to the community, to other youth projects. It doesn't stop deforestation, but it certainly helps combat it.
When it takes time to grow a tree, it's always the right time to grow one. Action like this that we as Team Trees did is action that fight directly climate change and inspire others to act.
We started at the Youth-Led Solution Summit where we had to discuss and to come up with a solution, and we did some research together as a team, and we came with the problem that one of the most concerning problem in Kosovo is deforestation, and we wanted to tackle this issue when it comes to climate crisis in Kosovo. A lot of people use wood burning and also use wood in order for them to provide the heat because economically Kosovo is not a very sustainable country, and sometimes this way or illegal cutting is the only way like to provide heat for the country. A lot of time, for example, people don't have the chance to be educated on these topics such as deforestation, climate crisis, and we see a lack of education, but also the resources and infrastructure to involved in recycling activities and recycling projects.
I think every community should have a tree nursery, and I think every community should be responsible for replanting trees or reforestation.
So this is an inaugural school where Team Trees planted some trees together with young people as part of a rising awareness campaign.
It's very important to say that here we've had a project that has involved kids who have planted a lot of trees here and pines that have created a better environment for children. It is one of the most important issues that we must take care of. So we must know that if we want the future generations to have a healthy lifestyle, we must keep an eye on what's happening with the trees.
Maybe we cannot prevent deforestation 100%, but each of us can plant some trees and make this process less impactful, in this case, deforestation.
The Philippines is extremely vulnerable to climate change. As per United Nations report, the Philippines ranks 3rd for being one of the most at-risk countries in climate change effect. We are also confronted with the plastic pollution problem, polluting our bodies of water and destructing our marine ecosystem.
As the climate crisis intensifies, so as the extreme events that has been happening around us. Flooding, sea level rise, drought, which causes food shortage and expensive commodities. Health problems and poverty are aggravated due to unexpected disasters.
Nanggagaling ang mga basura ay galing po ito sa mga sapa at mga kanal kasi pag malakas po ang ulan, yun po ay inaagos sila ng tubig papunta sa dagat. Kaya nakalutang sila sa ilalim ng dagat dahil sa karamihan ng basura na, yung iba naman nakalitaw, yung isda po tumatakbo na papalayo, wala na kaming nahuhuli dahil sa karamihan ng basura.
The Care for Climate was the first collaboration of Ann Arbor and Albay YMCA way back in October 2020. We had weekly meetings and shared our commonalities on environmental issues and gave them opportunity to implement community-based action plans. Our trained eco leader, Rolando, initiated a trash trap project to install nets in the canal that traps all the waste and prevent it from flowing into the river and into the sea.
The Ann Arbor YMCA is a founding member of the Philippines Coalition. As part of our coalition and the way we collaborate with each other, we felt it was a great opportunity to have an international climate change program that our teens and the young people in Albay could be involved with simultaneously.
The opportunity that we had to collaborate with the Albay Y was incredibly valuable. We learned from them many strategies that they employ to mitigate climate change, which is much more urgent because of the impacts, the direct impacts that it's already having on their environment.
The climate challenges we face requires everybody's participation in trying to come up with solutions. True of any complex problem like this.
The Huron River Watershed Council had a snorkeling camp this summer that I worked with, and we basically created an experience that allowed the youth to get to know the Huron River, what helps it, what hurts it, and provide them with the opportunities to educate themselves and the tools to educate others.
Simula nang naglunsad dito ang YMCA, naging maganda ang aming pangingisda at nawala na ng basura at mas lalong marami ang aming nahuhuli. Malaking tulong ang naitulong sa amin ng YMCA, lalo na sa aking mga anak na mas lalaki pa sila para sa kalinisan ng ating karagatan at maghahanap buhay din sila, makikita nila kung gaano kalinisan ang ating karagatan.
Through Care for Climate Project, we young leaders were given an opportunity to contribute solutions to pressing environmental issues that we have in our society. Before that, we have no idea what carbon footprint is. But YMCA taught us everything that we need to learn as an eco-leader.
By engendering in the participants a sense of responsibility for our local environment, hopefully that sense of responsibility will eventually be extrapolated to our environment at large.
While we may be in different parts of the world, we all have the same drive and the same passion. I really feel a connection with those people. Even if I don't know them at all, I feel a connection with them.
People being aware of their direct surroundings and what the climate crisis is doing to them and to their environment, and not being just paralyzed by fear but acting on it. That's really sticking with me, and I think that's something I will take away from this day, to be more aware of my surrounding and to act on it directly.
Yeah, I find that pretty moving, but do you know something that hasn't moved in about 20 minutes? You guys. Right. I think it's about time that we stretched our limbs, and I think a really good way of doing that would be a little game of Simon Says, but it's Peter Says.
Okay, so I'm not from the UK. English is not my first language. How does that work?
So, I'll give an action, and I'll start it by saying, Peter says, stand up.
And we all stand up.
And then I might say, Peter says, put up one hand. Peter says, put up the other hand. Put both hands down. Oh. So, if you can complete the action without Peter says, you sit down, you're out, okay? Do we understand? Right, everyone sit down.
Oh.
Peter says, sit down. Okay. Peter says, give me jazz hands. Peter says, stand up. Peter says, reach for the sky. Peter says, touch the ground. Back up. Oh, if you got back up, sit down, please. Peter says, stand up straight. You're also good at this. Peter says, give me one jazz hand. And another jazz hand. Oh, guys, sit down with both jazz hands. Right. Peter says, stand still. Peter says, step to the side. Peter says, step to the other side. Peter says, step to the other side. And back. Oh. If you move, sit down. Now, we were going to do this until we had one left. I think we're all very competitive.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I think what we should do is probably stop right there. Everyone, give yourselves a round of applause.
I really wanted to win.
I know.
But great job, everyone. So we started this session with focusing on our minds, and now we activated our bodies. So what is missing? Spirit. Exactly, spirit. So the next couple of minutes are for you to refresh and to recharge. And without further ado, please welcome with me on stage from the Czech Republic, Esther Sokopova, to lead us on into the devotion.
So, hi everybody, my name is Esther and I would like to tell you my story. So, when I was 14 in 2019, I went to Germany for a YMCA camp that was all people from Germany, the USA, and one other girl from the Czech Republic, but I didn't know her. It was my first time going to a foreign country by myself. I was looking forward to the camp, but I was also scared and I didn't know what to expect. Upon arrival, panic hit me. It seemed to me that everyone at the camp spoke great English and already knew somebody. And deep down, I felt completely alone and had no hope that things would get better during the following week. I cried, so I sat down on my back, opened my Bible, and tears streamed down my cheeks. I prayed and asked God to let me meet a friend. You know, it was really hard for me. I am a very communicative person in the Czech Republic and in the Czech language, and I always talk a lot, and suddenly it was a big shock for me that I couldn't. After we were separated into our rooms, we got to know our roommates a little bit, but right after that, everybody went to their own direction again, and I was left alone in my room. And then, before the first big meeting was about to start, I walked across the campsite and saw the wife of the main organizer sitting on the lawn with her youngest little daughter. The little girl was tiny, cute, had big eyes, 2 blonde ponytails, and didn't mind at all that I spoke Czech and she spoke German. Her mother was very nice and talked to me. Suddenly, the little girl stood up and, without looking at me, she grabbed my finger with her little hand and led me towards the others. Her mom looked at me and said with a smile, "So you already have a little friend?" And I suddenly realized that it was true and that I was no longer alone in faraway Germany. Tears welled up in my eyes and my heart filled with gratitude. I knew it was from God, but I had no idea that this was just the beginning, for God. After that, I made many new great friends at the camp that were hard to say goodbye to, and that I will never forget. And in the end, I made even better friends at camp than if I could speak their language fluently, because when you don't just talk all the time, you look and listen more and don't just judge by first impression. You can get to know people better. When I think back on this story, I realize that God wanted to show me through this little girl that I'm definitely never alone and that He is with me, and that He shows me His love through friendship as well. I believe that God also gave that mommy those words, "So you already have a little friend," for that is exactly what He used to fulfill my prayer. This mom did God's will with her little daughter, and in doing so, she helped me. Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." We were created by God for good works. We are to do good around us, and therefore we are to listen to God, because God knows who needs us and who needs Him. And even every little act can have a big impact for someone, like for me, the way a little girl grabbed my hand. Psalm 8:6 says, "You made them rulers over the works of your hands. Put your everything under their feet." We were created to take care of God's work and do good works on earth, to care for others, for what has been entrusted to us, and to do good. We were created to do something good and beautiful in a different way. And so someone can help homeless people, someone can make friends with somebody who's lonely, like I was in Germany, or like in YMCA prison, where I volunteer, can organize programs for Ukrainian children and mothers who fled the war, clean up garbage in nature and teach children to be responsible, grateful, to appreciate nature, even to appreciate their mothers. And all because we were created for everyone to do good deeds. And that's how we can help also with the sustainability of the planet. But for all that, we need God. And this all connects Corinthians 12:12, where is written, "Just as a body, the one has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. We are body and members, God's ambassadors and stewards, doing good around us. And the head of all is the Lord Jesus. And we need him. We need his love." And so these verses are a great encouragement for us to work at YMCA, where this is what we can live and do together. To be with God, to do good and to help people, and thus help also our planet. And now I would like to invite you all to join me in making a confession together about how we have treated our planet. As a community, it is important to confess to God, because it helps us to find our right place in front of our Creator. So let's pray together. So now I would like to read you a verse from the book of Lamentations. The joy of our hearts has ceased. Our dancing has been turned to mourning. The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us, for we have sinned. For this our heart has become sick. For these things our eyes have grown dim. For Mount Zion, which lies desolate, jackals prowl over it. But you, O Lord, reign forever. Your throne adjusts to all generations. Why do you forget us forever? Why do you forsake us for so many days? Restore us to yourself, O Lord, that we may be restored. Climate breakdown is real. Desmond Tutu said, 25 years ago, people could be excused for not knowing much or doing much about climate change. Today, we have no excuse. Now we will pray together, and I would like to invite you to stand and pray with me and to read the highlighted words. So I will read the light ones, and then you can read the dark ones. Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. Climate breakdown is happening now. The poorest countries are the most vulnerable. Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. Climate change requires extensive and sustained action to prevent the unfolding of a disaster of apocalyptic proportions. Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. Almighty God, we have sinned against you and against our neighbor in thought and word and deed, through negligence, through consumerism, by being caught up and complicit in economic systems and lifestyles which bring destruction. In your mercy, forgive what we have been, help us to amend what we are, and direct what we shall be, that we may do justly, love mercy, tread lightly upon the earth, and walk humbly with you, our God. Amen. And now we will play some songs.
I'm standing I will not be overcome. Through the valley of the shadow, I will not fear. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. In the midst of deep sorrow, I see your light is breaking through. The dark of night will not overtake me. I am pressing into you. Lord, you fight my every battle. Oh, and I will not fear. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You're my strength, you're my defender. You're my refuge in the storm. Through these trials, you've always been faithful. You bring healing to my soul. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never
matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. And ooh, oh, and you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. And you say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe, taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You have every failure, God. You have every victory. And ooh, oh, and you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. And you say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe, and oh, I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
Thank you to our amazing band for leading us into worship. For now, okay, oh, you can give applause. This is for you guys. Thank you so much. For now, we will split up into groups of 2 and 3. So you don't have to walk around for that. You can just slightly turn to your neighbor or the people sitting around you and form up little groups of 2 or 3 people.
So we are going to use a platform called Slido, and it's really just for you to input answers, answer questions for us, rate things, and we're rating from 1 to 5. So you'll have to go and we'll see the results on the screen. So you'll have to go to the link tree and click on Sustainable Planet, and it's all on there. And we'll do that now.
Yes, so please form little groups, get your phones out. You can also scan the code or click on the link tree. Okay, I see some group action going on. All right. Okay. Has it worked out? Give me a show of hands if you need any assistance or any help. Okay, you good? Okay, great. So as soon as you're logged in,
Right. Peter says, put your hand up if you're not on Slido yet.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Peter says, put your thumbs up if you're on Slido.
Woo.
Great.
Wonderful. Fantastic.
Great. Thank you. So I think now we're all logged in, so we can run a little test. I think the first question should be, are there already questions up there? I think the first question we will ask you to get you in touch with the tool, you could rate Peter's shirt. So if you think, yeah, please burn that one, never wear it again, you can give it a 1. That's really hard, so please don't do that. If you think, oh, it's a solid fit, it's nice, he's a handsome guy, give him a 3. And if you're like, oh my goodness, this is the best shirt, you should wear that every day from now on, and please give me your Instagram for fashion advice, give him a 5. Let's go.
I'm watching you, number ones. I know who you are.
Okay, I think your career as a fashion influencer is like set.
Yeah. Clearly very popular. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think we're going to move on to our first question. So, how would you rate your YMCA, whatever YMCA you've come from, on activating the pillar of sustainable planet? So thinking that 1 is that you don't have any plans yet, it's something that's on your mind but you haven't committed to anything yet. Number 5 would be we're already working on sustainable planet, or we've got plans that are ready to go.
Right. I think people who are voting for number 3, this is just the right day and the right time to be here for you guys to get some more ideas. And great that people are already taking actions. Like there are some people who voted 5. Okay. All right, so I think the most people are like getting sort of ideas, but I hope by 2030 we have 100% at number 5. Moving on to question number 2. What potential do YMCAs in Europe have on creating a positive impact on the sustainable planet pillar? We have different options. All right. So we have a lot of people who think we have a crucial role as YMCA in different spaces, and we have to care about the future of young people. Basically, that's what Jojo said last night. And little people who are not really sure which role we have as a YMCA. For those people, maybe in the break, go and talk to Silke and maybe invite her to your YMCA. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to question number 3. What assets and resources could your YMCA bring to deliver youth-led solutions in respect to a sustainable planet? What could your YMCA bring to the table? Youth, yes.
All right, there are a lot of questions coming in. We were wondering if any of you want to share a little bit more about what their group just typed in. Maybe give us an example. I saw amazing things just there, like a platform, watching food waste, educating, sharing children, information with children and youth. Yeah, Juan.
Thank you. So I wrote about our capacity to actually advocate and raise our voice with the institutions we work with in partnership, especially in the European level.
Thank you.
Peter says, put your hand up if you've got a great idea and would like to share it on the mic. Crickets, great.
All right, we're just going to warm up. Question number 4. In what way does your faith inspire you when thinking about a sustainable planet? Please list. Okay. Some wrote volunteers and programs. Some say they're not believing. Some say it's true. Some are unsure. Compassion. The radicality that is God's love doesn't play any role. We're supposed to take care of the world God created, to save creation. Faith, hope, and strength. It gives hope. We are one with nature, God's creation. Gratitude. Mother Earth takes care of us, and we need to take care of her. That's a whole bunch. Like a lot of people wrote down creation and earth, and to take care, and to take care of the following generations. I think we have all sorts of things.
Fab. And now we're going to go on to our last question. And we spoke at the beginning of this about the idea that hopelessness is the enemy of progress. So we're going to end this session by saying, what gives you hope about the future sustainability of our planet? Let's end on a positive. Peter gives you hope. Stop it, everyone.
Peter's shirt. Your shirt is up there.
It gives me hope too.
Young people are also up there. Youth, YMCA working together.
Young global leaders, YMCA working together. The sunrise. Someone's feeling poetic today.
Vision 2030 as well.
So we're going to take a coffee break, but you can still continue to add to this list. And I think this list is incredibly important for us as a movement, because we've got 7 more years until 2030, and we need to be thinking about all these things up here, about the youth, about the sunrise, about progress. So we've got 45 minutes now for a coffee. Please feel free adding things to the board, and we'll see you then.
See you at 4:15. Bye.